Rian moved carefully through the forest, his boots sinking into the soft ground after a night of rain. The morning looked calm, the sky bright and open, but something in the air felt strange. He walked his normal patrol path, expecting another quiet day near the border. This area usually stayed peaceful because both humans and aliens had agreed to avoid fighting here. Still, Rian liked to stay alert. The forest was wide, and strange things sometimes happened in places where two worlds touched. He stopped when he heard a sound. It was not a normal forest sound. It was thin, weak, and filled with pain. It reminded him of a child crying, but with a strange echo, almost like the sound came from two voices at the same time. Rian turned slowly, listening again. When the sound came the second time, he felt a pull inside his chest. Someone needed help. He started walking toward the sound, pushing branches away and stepping over fallen logs. The crying grew sharper as he moved deeper into the trees. Rian felt his heartbeat rise. This did not sound like a trap. It sounded too small, too scared. When he reached a group of broken branches, he saw something lying under them. For a moment he froze. It was a child, but not a human one. The child had pale skin with soft glowing lines across their arms. Their eyes were large and bright, but filled with fear and pain. Their small body trembled with every breath, and one leg looked badly injured. Rian did not know much about alien species, but he knew when someone was hurt. He knelt down slowly, trying not to scare the child. The child tried to push away from him, but they were too weak. Rian kept his voice calm. He told the child he was not here to harm them. He only wanted to help. The child blinked, confused and scared, but they did not fight anymore. Rian moved the branches carefully, making sure nothing hurt the child even more. He checked the injured leg and saw scratches that looked fresh. Someone or something had chased this child. Rian did not waste any more time. He lifted the child gently into his arms. The small alien gasped softly, but did not resist. They rested their head against his chest, breathing shakily. Rian felt a strong protective feeling rise in him. No matter who this child was, no one deserved to suffer like this. He would get them to safety. He started moving back toward the path, but after only a few steps, he sensed movement behind him. The forest suddenly felt alive with danger. He heard a branch snap, then another. Rian turned, but the shadows were thick. Someone was out there. Someone watching him. The child's glowing marks dimmed in fear. Rian held the child closer and began to move faster. He did not run because running made noise, but he walked quickly and kept his eyes sharp. Every sound felt louder than before. Every rustle made him expect an attack. He whispered to the child, telling them they were safe with him. The child clung weakly to his uniform. As he approached the open path, a dark shape moved between the trees. Rian stopped. The shape moved again, quick and silent. Then he saw another shape on his other side. Something definitely followed them. He did not know if they were animals or people, but he knew one thing. They wanted the child. Rian turned his body slightly, shielding the child. He took a slow breath and kept walking. The shapes stayed in the trees, but they did not attack. Rian needed to reach human ground, but he was still too far. Instead, he headed toward a wide clearing ahead. If he reached open space, he could see what chased him. When he entered the clearing, the shadows stopped following. For a moment, the forest felt silent again. The child looked up at him with tired, frightened eyes. Rian whispered that he would not let anything happen to them. He meant it. Just when he thought the danger was fading, he heard a new sound. A soft hum, almost like air pushing against metal. He looked to the sky and saw shapes descending. They were not human ships. The craft glowed with soft silver light and moved smoothly through the air. Rian stepped back, holding the child protectively. He had no idea if these ships belonged to friends or enemies. The craft landed quietly. From the doors stepped tall aliens in armor. Their armor had the same glowing lines as the child's skin. Their eyes widened when they saw Rian holding the child. Several guards pointed their long weapons at him, but one of them stopped them with a raised hand. Rian realized these must be the child's people. He slowly lifted the child so they could see their faces better. The child lifted a shaking hand toward the guards. One of the guards stepped forward quickly. They spoke in a language Rian did not understand, but their voice carried deep worry. Another figure stepped from the craft. Their presence felt powerful even from a distance. They wore robes that shimmered in soft colors, and their face showed age and wisdom. Their eyes moved immediately to the child. Rian felt the child tense in his arms, then relax. This figure must be someone important. Someone the child trusted. The figure approached Rian without fear. Rian carefully handed the child over. The important figure held the child gently, checking their injuries with trembling hands. The child whispered something weakly, and the figure closed their eyes for a moment, relief softening their expression. Then the figure looked up at Rian. The look was deep and searching. Rian expected anger. He expected blame. After all, he was a human holding the air of some alien group. Instead, the figure spoke a single word in perfect human language: protector. The guards around them reacted with surprise. Their armor lights brightened. They looked at Rian not with suspicion now, but with something closer to respect. Rian stood confused. He did not understand why the word mattered so much, but the tone told him it was not a normal title. It carried weight. The figure spoke again, this time in their own language. The guards lowered their weapons. Some even bowed their heads slightly toward Rian. Rian blinked, unsure what he had just stepped into. The figure holding the child turned and motioned for Rian to follow. There was no threat in the gesture, only expectation. Rian felt the tension in the air shift. Whatever happened now, he could not leave. The child he had carried was important, and that meant he was now part of something larger than a simple patrol. Rian climbed onto the craft beside them. The doors closed with a soft hiss, and the ship rose smoothly. The forest disappeared beneath them. Rian sat quietly while the important figure held the child close. The child's breathing slowly became steady again. Rian felt relief fill him. For now, the child was safe. When the craft entered the alien city, Rian stared in awe. The buildings rose like living structures, glowing softly in the twilight. People in flowing clothing moved everywhere, but they stopped and stared when they saw the craft land with guards escorting a human. Rian stepped out slowly. The crowd whispered among themselves. The important figure stepped forward and waited for him. Only then did Rian realize who they were. This was the queen of this city, and the child he saved was her heir. The queen turned to her people and spoke. They listened closely. Rian did not understand the language, but he heard the same word again, the one she had spoken earlier: protector. Her voice carried strength, and the crowd reacted with surprise and interest. They looked at Rian with new eyes. Not as a stranger, not as an outsider. As someone who had earned something rare, the queen approached him again. Her eyes, bright and calm, studied him in silence. Then, she placed her hand lightly on his shoulder, a sign of trust. Rian stood still, unsure how to respond. He had never been honored by an alien queen before. She spoke slowly, carefully, in human language, choosing words she knew he would understand. She thanked him for saving her child. She told him that anyone who protected her heir became someone important to her people, someone respected. She told him he would stay in their city until the danger was understood. She wanted him close, not as a prisoner, but as someone she trusted with something precious. Rian nodded. He did not argue. He felt the child's small hand reach out from the queen's arms, touching his sleeve gently. It was a wordless thank you. It made him feel warm inside, like all the danger in the forest had been worth it. He followed the queen and her guards into the heart of the city. The glowing lights reflected on the smooth paths beneath his feet. People moved aside respectfully as he passed. He could feel many eyes on him, full of curiosity. Rian knew his life had changed in one moment, when he lifted a wounded child from broken branches. Now he stood in a new world, carrying a title he did not fully understand: Protector. Rian walked through the quiet forest with slow steps, listening to the wind as it moved through the tall trees. His patrol shift was supposed to be simple: The border area between humans and the alien kingdom was usually calm. Both sides had agreed to peace many years ago, and most days passed without a single sign of danger. Rian liked these peaceful patrols. He enjoyed the silence, the soft sounds of nature, and the feeling that nothing bad would happen today. He checked the scanner in his hand. It showed nothing strange, no large movements, and no sign of wild creatures. Everything looked normal. He breathed out in relief and took another step forward. Then he heard it. A soft cry. Very faint. Almost like a whimper. Rian stopped immediately. His hand moved to the small weapon at his belt, not because he wanted to fight, but because he needed to be ready. He turned his head slowly, listening carefully. The sound came again. This time, it was sharper, filled with pain. It did not sound like any creature he knew. It sounded almost like a child. Rian's calm patrol suddenly turned serious. He moved toward the sound, stepping carefully over roots, pushing branches aside. The forest grew thicker as he walked deeper inside. The cry grew clearer. He could hear the weakness in it, as if whoever was crying had almost run out of strength. Then he saw something under a pile of broken branches. A small shape, still not moving much. Rian hurried forward and knelt down. His breath caught in his chest when he saw the truth. A child. An alien child. The child had pale blue skin, tiny glowing marks on their arms and cheeks, and long white hair that flowed over the ground. Their clothes were torn, and their small bodies shook in pain. Rian gently brushed away the branches covering them. The child opened their eyes halfway and stared at him with fear and confusion. "It's okay," Rian whispered. "I'm not here to hurt you." The child reached toward him with trembling fingers before pulling back in fear. Rian slowly took off his gloves to show empty hands. The child stared at his hands and slowly relaxed and let Rian lift them. The child was lighter than a human child of the same size, but their body was cold. Rian felt the weakness in their breathing. They needed help fast. Rian stood up and adjusted his grip, holding the child close to his chest to keep them warm. He looked around the forest. He had no idea how the child got here. The alien city was far away, hidden behind protective shields. Something was very wrong. He started walking toward the clearing where he could call for medical support. But before he took more than 10 steps, he heard rustling behind him. Fast rustling. Many footsteps moving quickly. Someone was coming. Rian turned around, still holding the child tightly. At first, he saw only shadows between the trees. Then he saw tall figures moving rapidly, too rapidly to be humans. They carried long sticks glowing with a dim red light. Rian's heart beat faster. Whoever these people were, they did not look friendly, and they were definitely searching for something. Rian stepped behind a thick tree and held the child protectively. The child looked up at him, breathing fast, eyes wide with fear. Their small hand clutched his uniform. Rian whispered softly, "You're safe. I'm here." The footsteps grew louder, then slowly faded into the distance. Rian stayed still for a few more seconds, making sure they were gone. Only when he felt sure did he move again. He needed to get the child away from here, but the forest was so large, and the unknown enemies moved quickly. If they found him, they would definitely try to take the child. Rian tightened his hold and began to run. Not caring about the branches scratching him or the leaves brushing against his face, he ran until his legs burned, until he reached a wider path. He stopped for a moment to catch his breath. The child rested their head against his shoulder, too weak to speak. Suddenly, a bright blue light appeared in front of him, rising from the ground like a wall. Rian took a step back, confused. The air shimmered, and 3 tall alien guards stepped out. Wearing silver armor that reflected the sunlight, Rian's grip on the child tightened. He did not know if these guards were friendly or not. The guards' eyes widened when they saw him holding the injured child. One of the guards raised a hand. "Do not move," he said in a calm voice. Rian did not know their language well, but he understood enough. He slowly raised one hand while keeping the child close. I found the child injured, he said. I mean no harm. The guard stepped forward, eyes locked on the child. His expression changed from caution to shock. The heir. He whispered, You found the heir. Rian blinked. The heir. The guard nodded and called something in his language. 2 more guards appeared. They looked worried and alarmed. Without hesitation, they formed a protective circle around Rian and guided him forward. Rian followed, unsure of what else to do. He felt the child grip his uniform even more tightly, as if they did not want to be taken away from him. Rian whispered gently, It's okay. You'll be all right. The guards led him through the forest, then through a hidden barrier that shimmered like water. When Rian passed through it, his eyes widened with surprise. A large underground city spread out before him, glowing with soft blue lights and filled with tall buildings. Shaped like crystals, the guards took him straight toward a bright palace in the center. The doors opened silently, and Rian stepped into a room filled with glowing light and gentle warmth. Standing at the center was the queen. She had long silver hair and bright markings on her face that glowed softly. Her presence filled the room with calm strength. She turned when she heard the guards. Her eyes went straight to the child in Rian's arms. For a moment, the queen did not breathe. Then she rushed forward with unexpected speed. Rian carefully handed the child to her. The child touched the queen's arm. She closed her eyes in deep relief. When she opened them again, she looked directly at Rian. Everyone in the room waited for her reaction. Some expected anger. Some expected fear. Others expected suspicion. But the queen did something none of them expected. She placed her hand gently on Rian's arm and said one word, Protector. The entire room gasped softly. The guards exchanged confused looks. Even the wounded child stared at Rian with wide eyes, as if trying to understand what the queen had just called him. Rian blinked in surprise. Protector. He repeated softly. The queen nodded, her voice full of emotion. You saved my child. You risked your life. You are now honored among us. Rian felt his heart beat faster. He had come to this forest expecting a quiet patrol. Instead, he was standing in the center of an alien palace, holding the title of Protector given by a queen. The queen motioned for the healers to take her child away for treatment. Before they left, the child reached out and touched Rian's hand one last time, as if saying thank you without words. As the child disappeared into another room, the queen looked at Rian again. You must stay, she said. You are part of this now. Rian did not know what she meant, but he saw the seriousness in her eyes. Something bigger was happening. Something dangerous. He had saved the child. But the forest attack meant the danger was not over. The queen stepped closer and lowered her voice. Someone tried to harm my child. Someone who wants to break the peace. She looked at Rian with steady eyes. You found the child when my own guards could not. You carried them through danger. You protected them with your own life. Now I ask for your help. Rian stood silently, unsure how to respond. The queen continued, You are a protector now, and protectors do not walk away. Part 1 ends with Rian realizing his life has changed forever. Part 2 approximately equals 2,000 words. Rian woke up early the next morning. The alien palace was silent, and the air around him glowed with soft blue light. He sat up and looked around the room the guards had given him the night before. The bed was made of soft material that adjusted to his body, and the walls shone gently like a calm sunrise. He remembered everything clearly. The wounded child. The unknown attackers. The alien queen calling him protector. It felt unreal, yet the memory was sharp in his mind. Rian left the room and walked down the hall. The guards stood straight when they saw him, showing respect he did not fully understand. They guided him toward the main chamber where the queen waited. The queen stood near a pool of glowing water. When she saw Rian, she gave a small nod. Good morning, Protector. Rian bowed slightly, unsure if that was the correct greeting. How is the child? He asked. The queen's expression softened. Healing, she said. Your rescue saved them. Rian felt relieved. The queen then motioned toward a long table filled with maps and glowing symbols. We must talk, she said. Rian walked closer. The queen pointed to a mark on the map showing the forest where he found the child. The attackers came from this direction, she explained. They used hidden paths. They knew where the heir would be. So it was planned, Rian said. Yes, the queen replied. And they wanted others to believe humans were responsible. Rian's jaw tightened. Someone wanted to create conflict between humans and aliens again. Someone wanted to break the peace both sides worked hard to build. The queen looked directly at him. This is why I need your help. You know the forest? You know how humans think. You are the best one to find the truth. Rian hesitated for a moment, not because he wanted to refuse, but because of the weight of the responsibility. Then he nodded. I will help. The queen gave him a glowing stone. For protection, she said. And because my child wished for you to have it, Rian took the stone carefully.